Alright guys, how you doing? I'm Angie. We're going to make a tincture. We're going to make a glycerite right now. But we're not going to make it your standard way right now. I'm going to use my infusium. So what an infusium is, let me get it. So this is the infusium. I got this on Amazon. This allows you to make a tincture in 4 hours. You could make an oil in here. You could even set it so like an oil takes an hour. A butter takes 2 hours maybe. I forget the time limit on those. Tincture takes 4 hours. But you can also do a DIY, which you can set your own time. You can set your own temperature. So with that being said, I know I've mentioned before, we don't like our herbs to get real hot. We don't want to lose those medicinal properties. The name of this is the Infusium 420. It's because it's used for, 420, Bob. You know what I'm talking about? So this makes tinctures quickly. I have a friend whose son has ADHD, and she wants to see what we can do for him. So I have found St. John's wort and valerian work good together for kids 6 years old and up. We're going to make this. I am going to put it in the infusium, but I need to order some more glycerin, food-grade glycerin. He's a teenager, but apparently he's a very picky eater. So therefore, they are requesting the glycerin base because it is sweeter. This one right here, we're going to put in some dried lemon if I have it. So I'm going to put in some ground lemon. How I have those, I dehydrate lemons in my dehydrator. You can also do them in your oven, and then you just can grind them. Like a coffee bean grinder. I used a bullet. Alright, so the lemon is to make it taste better. The food grade glycerin is for the sweetness and the preservative. So we're not using alcohol. We're not using apple cider vinegar, which are liquids known to preserve things long term. Food grade glycerin also does the job. I also don't have a lot. That's why we're doing just a small batch in the infusium. I have to order more. That next batch we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. I prefer my tinctures the folk method. This is just when you're in a pinch. And they need it this weekend. So this is a pinch. And they understand that. I explained it to them. Okay. I'm going to get this out of the way right now. We've got our bowl. So, glycerin. You cannot make a tincture with glycerin all by itself. This needs water. So let's think about it. You're probably like, what? Why would you need water? Number one, this is a little strong for those delicate areas in your throat. First, you need to add water to that. The second reason, let's think about this. When we are making a tincture with alcohol, alcohol is made up of ethanol and water. The reason that alcohol is good for tinctures is, number one, some properties out of a plant are best pulled out by ethanol. But there are other properties in a plant that are best pulled out by water. Hence your teas that you make, it pulls it out. But for example, resins, which would be like myrrh, if you use some frankincense tears or, things like that, resins, those need to definitely have alcohol. But plants, alcohol too. That's why we make tinctures with alcohol. So we're going to add water to this. I'm going to add the water after the process is done, because I want to see how much of this is left and not soaked into the herbs, if that makes sense. Because, you know, let's say I put a cup in, which I'm going to do, probably 2 cups, I'm sorry. I'm putting a cup of herbs. If I put 2 cups of glycerin in there and I'm down to 1, you know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that I have a good percentage, because I want my tincture, my glycerite, since we're using glycerin, I want my glycerin to be at least 70% glycerin and 30% water. So I want to make sure what the amount of glycerin is after the tincture's done. Okay? We're going to move this out of the way right now too. One other thing regarding the infusium, the stuff that comes out of there is hot. So they give you a nice little glove. And you need it. They give you 2 different filters. I don't use this one much. It's a nice little, but you just you strain it through here. It's a thin mesh, don't get me wrong, but this one right here is even thinner. And they have numbers on the inside so you know which one's which. So this is what I use to strain. Not only when I'm straining things that I do in the infusium, I strain all my tinctures and everything in these. They're just so convenient. They're round, they sit in a strainer or a bowl real good, you know. I like them. Okay. St. John's wort. It's also in here. But I'm going to see how much is in this. I'll put a cup of each into here. Or as close to a cup as we can get. There we go. Easy peasy breezy. St. John's wort's good for moods. It's a mood enhancer, but you have to watch what you take St. John's wort with. Anything that would promote like serotonin, which would be chemicals, mood chemicals from the brain, you need to be very cautious. So this mixture that I'm making, you know, if you're on any type of anxiety, depression medication, MAIOs, the SIRRTs, SSIRIs, you wouldn't want to take this. Because we're also going to mix valerian with this. Valerian's good for women going through menopause and you can't sleep. And anxiety, things like that. It is not an estrogen base, so it's not like a male human being couldn't take this. And we're going to do, probably not, I think I need to get some more valerian. Alright, so we've got not quite a cup of valerian root. I'm going to have to order some before I do the other tincture folk method, but that's okay. So we have time. This is going to make us a good bottle to where it's going to last him at least 30 plus days, maybe 60 days. Especially just starting to take it. He's only going to start with the drops at first. So we're going to be good. All right. Let's get the infusium together. I just see myself dumping that and I would just be so upset. Alright. So the infusium, when you take it out, it has this little blade. It is not really sharp, but I'm sure when it starts spinning around it is. On the top here you have your options of, see if you guys can see it. You can set your time, you can set your temperature, etc. But once you plug it in, you hit select, and these areas light up. And they say oil, butter, do-it-yourself, tincture, or you can clean. And do a tincture, even though it's a glycerite, it's a tincture. And I am going to have to relocate because my outlet is being used. We are going to add our bowl of herbs, 1 cup of each, 1 cup of St. John's wort, just about a cup of valerian root. Now, if you noticed, it's a root, so we are going to have to get the heat up on that. Okay. We are going to add some lemon powder for taste. And consider it's a root. It's going to be very woodsy. I'm making a mess. So we're going to add a couple teaspoons of this. Tablespoons, I'm sorry. 2 tablespoons. We're going to measure this out, but I know I'm going to be using all of my food grade glycerin. So this is a cup, and it's very slow to pour. There's 1. We don't even have a full 2. Well, close to a 2. And I want all the yummy goodness out of there. So I'm going to get a spatula. I'm going to get all that because we want as much as we can get. That's very, very sweet. Again, that's why we're going to have to add water. I'm not going to throw this away because when it comes time to get the water, I'm going to put the water in here, swish it around, get as much of this glycerin out of there too. See what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm throwing down? But we're going to let this process before we add the water, if you remember why. Okay, we have our valerian root in there, our St. John's wort. We have the glycerin, which is our liquid. We have the lemon powder, and now we just have to start it. I'm going to put the lid on. You never want to have this plugged in when you're doing the prep. While it's plugged in, or the lid is off, or you don't want to put the lid on while it's plugged in. This is your last step. All right. We're going to select. So an oil is a minute. A butter is not a minute, it's an hour. A butter's 2 hours. Do it yourself. But we're going to do the tincture, and it is 4 hours. And that's all you do. It's going to warm up. We're going to hear it start going here in a minute. And it's that easy peasy. Again, this does not make as strong of a tincture. The old-fashioned way is the best. This is not going to be as strong because it's only going for 4 hours. And you don't have to touch it again. We'll have to come back. I'll have to drain this and strain it. And then I'm going to have to do the water portion of it. So we'll be doing that tonight because you can't leave things sitting there. It'll go bad. So you need to dedicate the time to it once you start it. You know, it's not like the folk method where you put it in a jar and then you're, you know, done. But, oh, you do have California poppy and lobelia? Well, you know, lobelia is a antibiotic. And California's poppy is going to make you relax and not so stressful. Oh, that's right. You're house sitting, aren't you? See how much we know about each other's lives? Well, you know, get in their cabinets and see if they have any thyme. Make yourself a tea with some thyme, some oregano, okay? You can use kitchen spices. They'll just think you were cooking. You know, get you some steam with that. That'll help your lungs open up. The oregano and the thyme, the sage. Make you a little mixture. Put some cayenne in there. If you're going to make a tea, a little cayenne with some honey if they have honey. You know, even if you don't have honey, throw some damn sugar in there. You got to do what you got to do, you know. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Yeah, use what's at your fingertips, you know. Maybe even take yourself a nice shower. Root around there. See if they've got any Vicks Vapor Rub or anything in their medicine cabinet. Take some Vicks and, you know, just put a little bit in the shower and let that steam up. Unless they've got some essential oils or anything like that.
Where are we at?
Okay, no, I'm in here. My dinner just arrived. So for knee and ankle pain, first of all, you want to get rid of the inflammation. So I would say turmeric is good for inflammation and it's good for pain. So you're knocking out two things at once. If you don't want to take the turmeric for whatever reason, you can also look at dandelion tea or tincture. I feel that tinctures are much stronger. And then devil's claw. Devil's claw helps lower back, hip, and knee pain. So I'm sure it'll help with your ankle. Now, you want to make sure you research those first before you take them because, you know, for example, somebody on, this is the example that I give everybody. Somebody on blood thinners can have vitamin K, and the majority of your herbs have vitamin K. So you want to make sure that you research them based upon your health history to make sure they're not going to hurt you and any medications. And by the way, in my bio, in my link tree, there is a link to a Kaiser website that you can put the herb in and you can put your blood medication in, and it'll tell you if there's any issues. Well, I don't know which night, I don't know, allergies, blah, 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 blah. But, you can do your own research. I'm on blood pressure medication and I take herbs. So, but everybody's different, and I'm not a doctor. Has St. John's wort and valerian root in it. I also added some lemon powder to make it more palate pleasable. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay healthy.